Top Story is brought to you by Bond Savings and Loans, Gasem Cement, Vodafone, and Nationwide Medical Health. I'm Arba Kumson, sitting in for your regular host, Evans Mensah. Now, 24 hours after they have been marched out of campus, students of the KNUST are pushing strongly for the removal of the Vice-Chancellor, Professor Kwesi Obri-Danso. The students also want the management team of the university dissolved. Briefing journalists in Kumasi today, a group calling itself Concerned Students of KNUST accused the Vice-Chancellor and his team of mismanaging the university, which they said led to Monday's violent demonstration and destruction. Emmanuel Yadomboache speaks for the group.
The concerned students have resolved that 1. The failure of leadership from the university management is solely responsible for the unfortunate event of last Monday and calls for the following management members, that is the VC, Dean of Students, the Head of Security, the University Relations Officer who was been lying here and there, telling and twisting issues and facts just as he wanted, to be set aside for investigations and other relevant issues to continue or to move on. That, number 2, that there should be the formation of an interim management of the university, since those in charge now couldn't manage things well and couldn't help matters. Number 3, that there is the need for reforms in the policies of the university to reverse the status quo and restore the true independence of the students. The students must control their resources. There is this unpopular decision by the VC, the Dean of Students, and the authorities that from the Finance Ministry, according to them, the Finance Ministry is saying the school should have a consolidated account where the Dean of Students would take charge of all the accounts, sign their checks for them before they are able to get funds from their own accounts, which their members pay dues into. And these are some of our reliefs that we are telling the administration, the authorities, should give back power to the students.
Well, the group is also demanding a reversal of the decision to convert single-sex halls into mixed ones. Listen.
That the 2 halls turned into mixed halls should be returned back to its previous status. I think the university are trying to twist this whole issues, but they've forgotten that we have a remote cause and an immediate cause. The immediate cause of the demonstration on Monday was the brutalities meted on our students, our colleague students, and the remote cause of the demonstration also was of the fact of the view that the 2 halls turned into mixed halls has also played a very vital role. I think the financial indiscipline on the part of the school authorities has resulted in the school building of a wall at off-campus, which has been termed by students as the Jericho Wall. And we believe firmly that the bricks, the blocks, the strength, energies, and the monies, the funds used in building these walls could have been channeled in getting or raising a very firm foundation for our next hall that could have accommodated all the females that the VC would have wanted to admit.
So that's Emmanuel Yadomboache. He speaks for a group calling itself Concerned Students of KNUST, and they addressed the media in Kumasi earlier today. Well, the University Teachers Association of Ghana has dismissed the calls for the Vice-Chancellor's dismissal. Listen to UTAG President Eric Opoku.
We think this call is unfortunate and unnecessary, especially at this time, because Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology has a governing council, and the council is properly constituted. The UTAG president is on that same council. TEU has a representation on council. And therefore, this very matter that has brought about this crisis was a policy decision that was made at council. And therefore, as a result of student response to this policy, if certain unfortunate things have happened, UTAG does not think that the entire blame should be laid at the feet of the Vice-Chancellor.
So you feel that it would be unfair for people to pour their venom on the Vice-Chancellor alone because, I mean, he is just the implementer of the decision that was taken?
Exactly, because that's how our university works. Once a policy comes from council, the Vice-Chancellor has the mandate to implement the policy. So you cannot say that the Vice-Chancellor should be taken out of office. And even if that decision ought to be taken, we think it is the call that should be made by the University Council.
So that's the president of the University Teachers Association of Ghana, Eric Opoku. And thankfully, he joins us on the line now. Good evening to you, Mr. Opoku. Hello, Mr. Opoku.
Yeah, hello.
Dr. Eric Opoku, rather. Good evening to you.
Yeah, good evening. It's a pleasure to be on your platform.
Thank you. Now, is there not a legitimate reason to hold the leadership of the university to account for Monday's violent demonstration?
I do not think so.
And why is that the case?
Continue? I do not think so. Look, as I had already stated on your platform, Governing Council comes out with a policy, the Vice Chancellor implements it, the students don't like it, and the students react this way to destroy property on the university campus. I think it's a wrong call to make that, to ask the Vice Chancellor to go home. No, it is not going to happen. And UTAG, as a responsible body, is aware and very much in touch with the university. We know how universities are run. The University Council, as I indicated, has a firm composition of different individuals representing different constituencies in the university. The SRC president is there, and the Vice Chancellor, and all these people are there. So if something has happened, I think that the best way is to allow the council to examine the issue. The students are behaving the way they are behaving is as if they are not complicit in the matter and, presenting themselves constantly as victims. As we all operate in a university, university teachers sometimes have a case, they present it to council, it is shut down, and you have to go back and keep on negotiating. And you can talk about, I as national president can cite different instances of complaints of, lecturers on different university campuses complaining about, wanting to influence policy, and council will not agree. We don't go to bend the university. We don't say that we are not going to go to the classroom because council will not approve of our request. We keep on negotiating. We keep on dialoguing. That is how university works. It's a space for deliberation. It's a space for debate. And therefore, with this decision that has happened, and it's the destruction, wanton destruction of property that has occurred on the University of Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, we think that there have been many mistakes that have been made, and that as a university and as its major stakeholders, we should all reflect on what has happened. I think that the calls of students to call for the head of the vice
Dr. Opoku
is a wrong call.
Okay, all right. Dr. Opoku, let me just come in here.
In the whole process. And therefore, are we also going to argue as university teachers that all students, because students were, involved in all the students involved.
We'll come to the issue of the complicity of the students or otherwise, but let me ask you this. You made mention of the fact that many mistakes have been made with regards to this particular issue. What, in your opinion, was a mistake regarding this particular issue? Is it the thinking that this decision was not the right one to convert the single-sex halls into mixed halls?
I do not think so. The decision to change a single-sex hall into a mixed hall is not necessarily a bad decision. This is not the first time they are experiencing that in the university. Anybody who went to KNUST in the 80s will attest to the fact that over the years, whilst female enrollment was increasing, other single-sex halls were changed into mixed halls. Was that a bad decision? I think that this thing has been overrated. But without going into the merit of that, what I'm saying is that all the different constituencies in the university, including workers, including the teachers, including the administrators, and including students, each goes to council to make an appeal when a new policy comes. If it's not in the interest of the group, they keep on fighting and deliberating. And I'm saying that if this was the case, that whenever a group goes to fight and they don't get what they want, they have to destroy university property, then nothing is going to remain to call a university.
All right, Dr. Opoku, hold on to the line for me, because also joining us on the line is Emmanuel Boakye-Yiadom. He's leader of the concerned KNUST students. Emmanuel, good evening to you.
Good evening.
I'm sure you heard Dr. Eric Opoku there. He says that the entire blame should not be laid at the doorstep of the Vice Chancellor, whose dismissal you're calling for. What difference will sacking the Vice Chancellor make?
Thank you very much for your concerns. When we gathered ourselves today, you guys showed up, and I shown a lot of commitment to that. Now, I need to first express my disappointment in my lecturer for telling us that beating of students unprovoked on KNUST campus is a policy. And to be frank, if that is a policy, then I'll be very grateful.
I'm not sure he said that was a policy.
Oh no, that was his when he started. He said students can't demonstrate because the university has made a policy. And now we demonstrated because of the brutalities on KNUST students, not on making Konti Katanga mistake. That decision is already in court. So if you tell us the school has made a policy, and that policy was to beat us, because that is our main reason for demonstrating on Monday. Now, you can ask every student around. You can call the SRC president now. You can call anyone around. That's what were the reasons why KNUST students demonstrated. It is because the campus security are beating us. They are brutalizing us. They are telling us we had no rights and liberties on KNUST campus. And if you go ahead to complain to the security men, they will tell you we can do anything we want to do, and it will go nowhere. And that is really what our lecturer, who happens to be the president of UTAG, is now supporting it. And it seems it is a calculated attempt by UTAG and KNUST authorities just to beat us and then do anything to us, because it will go nowhere. And it's very sad. And I must be frank that I'm highly disappointed in the statement by my own lecturer.
Okay, let's get a reaction from your lecturer, Dr. Eric Opoku. Dr. Opoku, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm listening.
So what do you make of his concerns that as lecturers you're looking on unconcerned as they're allegedly brutalized?
I think my dear student is missing the argument. I did not say that.
Doc,
the university has come out with a policy. Would you make my point? Hello?
Dr. Opoku, please go ahead.
Yes, I'm saying that I think that you heard me quite well. I'm not sure I did say that there's a policy. No university around the world comes out with a policy that security people should beat students. I don't think any civil university...
that was the reason why we demonstrated.
Hello, can you make my point? Hello?
Emmanuel Boachi-Yadom, let's allow Dr. Eric Opoku to make his point. Doc, go ahead.
I think that, investigations are going on, and let us find out exactly what is the case. At this point in time, all kinds of... The students have an interest, right? And as university teachers and concerned university teachers, we also are interested not only in the welfare of the Vice Chancellor and staff of the university, but in our students as well. I don't think that I ought to, I ought to pitch myself against my student, to be arguing about the merit and demerit of this whole issue. What we are saying is that what has happened is unfortunate. Let us allow the governing council to make a determination by way of investigating and find out what went wrong so that we can learn from this and move forward. This call by students who themselves are complicit in this whole process, because I do not believe that it is the case that I teach on a university campus and so are my colleagues, that a security person gets up and just picks a stick and starts beating a student. That would be absurd. That would be an action instigated by a schizophrenic tendency. I don't think that might be the case, but be it as it may, we do not know the fine details of everything that has happened. Let us allow the governing council to roll out an investigative process with the assistance of the Ashanti Regional Security Council. And as issues unfold, I think that we can learn from this. This issue of making calls that this person should step aside, that person should step aside, then it will be getting to a point as like the student wants to dictate whatever should happen on KNUST campus. I think it's unfair to lecturers in the university. I think it's unfair to the management. I think it's also unfair to the council that governs the university.
Dr. Opoku, to be fair, it's not just the students who have made that point. It's also old students of the school and other government appointees and politicians as well. They have blamed
all students who are making the call are those who are former students of those halls. So, I mean, this issue about the students talking about the fact that they didn't go on demonstration because of the changing of the single-sex halls into mixed halls, but it was because of the police brutalities and all of that. UTAG that doesn't appreciate that argument. I think that it doesn't capture the entirety of what happened. So it is only an investigative body that could come out with a fair finding so that we'll get to know how things go forward. This issue about these individuals and these group-making calls is neither here nor there. As I said, it's the governing council that appoints a vice-chancellor, and it is the same governing council that can make such a determination going forward. Those calls do not have any power, and they will not constitute what will determine with respect to the future of the vice-chancellor. UTAG is watching carefully. We are a key stakeholder, and we are concerned about this process, and we are making sure that the rights and privileges of individuals, including the principal officers of this university, are well taken care and they will be protected by law. So these calls by people and different constituencies who are making these calls out of emotive, feelings, should not be taken into consideration in deciding the future. And it's only the governing council that can make any determination. The only issue that could happen outside the determination by a governing council is when an issue is taken to the court of law. I don't think that we are talking about criminality here, and I don't think that these matters that have occurred are outside the mandate of the governing council. With the support of the Ministry of Education, I think that we can move forward, and that is what they did. The Minister of Education was swift in coming to KNUST campus yesterday.
Right. Dr.
The
Opoku
council has been there. I think let us support them and go
very
forward.
well. But Dr. Opoku, I am
curious.
curious. You mentioned that this is not the first time that this matter of the conversion has come up. It has come up in earlier times. It was handled differently. How do you respond to concerns that it is Professor Danso's handling of the situation that has led to the shutdown of the school and all that we're witnessing?
I do not think it is necessarily his handling. I also think it is the response to the policy. In the 80s, when such policies were rolled out, if students decided to react this way, I think nothing will be left of the university. Look, I think that time changes, and we should allow the exigencies of the time to decide. There are so many things happening around the world today. And as a university, a council decides that in view of the present circumstances, this is the way we ought to go. Let us examine the issue. If the students don't like it, and the appeals have been made, everything will come back to the governing council. Right. So I do not think it's just a matter of the policy, because the policy decision to change these halls from a single-sex hall into a mixed hall is not, it is not the first time this decision has been taken. And that point has already been made. How come people are reacting this way? How differently is this being handled? It's simply because some individuals, some old students, some current students think that by hook or crook, certain halls should never be mixed because that is their tradition.
All right.
These institutions are institutions of government, and we ought to allow the governing council, which is a legitimate body, to lead the way. If we are going to do things to allow the parochial interest of individuals to prevail, then we are not going to have a university.
I'm very grateful for your time. That's Eric Opoku, Dr. Eric Opoku. He is president of the University Teachers Association of Ghana. But Emmanuel Boakye-Yiadom, who is leader of the concerned KNUST students, is still on the line with me. I'm sure you have a lot of reactions to what Dr. Eric Opoku has been saying. But I'm still concerned about the question I asked you has not been answered. What do you envisage will change if the Vice-Chancellor is sacked or even decides to resign?
Thank you very much. I think I was called to listen to Dr. Eric Opoku, who happens to be the UTAG president, because there were a lot of stuff that he said that at least if I was given the fair hearing, at least I could have educated our listeners. But this is a situation here where you've made Dr. said everything that he wanted to say, and now there's nothing that I can say again. Now, the demonstration that we did on Monday was sanctioned by the SRC, and it was titled "Say No to Brutalities," not "Say No to Missed Horse." Now, the media could attest to the fact that for some months now, since the ladies joined us in Konti, Katanga, and the horses that were being made missed. Now, have we recorded a single casualty, a female being attacked by a male student before? Are they not living in harmony? Are we not living at peace with our colleague sisters in school? But the irony of the fact is, the UTAG, the university, Ken University, and others are trying to twist this whole reason, now making it look as if the students are protesting against making Konti and Katanga messed up. In as much as that may be a remote control or a remote reason why those things happened, we are talking about the immediate cause. The immediate cause was the brutalities that the security men were inflicting on Kenyan students. And when you complain, they will tell you, whatever that you are doing will go nowhere. We are talking about a Kenya University where students are being forced to sleep at 10. Either you are in your room at 10, no entry, no exit. This is the Kenya University we are talking about. This is the Kenya University we are talking where hall executives, Konti Katanga, because they took the school to court for making their housemates, are now sacked from the hall because they took the school to court. This is the Kenya University where we are talking, where level 100 students are now hall executives of Konti and Katanga as we speak now. Now, who does this? This is a situation where we have UTAG president, instead of being, let's say, talking or being fair to Kenyan students, he is rather trying to defend the authorities because they are their colleagues. So because we are kids, we can't say what is going on wrong in the school. Because we are kids, if we are suffering, we can't be able to say it. Or because we are students, we have no rights, we have no liberties, and we have no freedoms at all. Now, this is a VC who thinks whatever that he does, whatever decisions he makes, is the best. Now, come to Kenya University where all funds or all accounts have been consolidated into one, where the dean of students signs it, and whether he signs, if he refuses to sign it, the faculty or the university, the SRC or the department will not have any amount or any funds of money to do whatever program that they want to do. Now, this is a Kenya where students are not happy, and students are talking about stuff, and then we have people who are supposed to probably maybe share in our tears or in our pains, or maybe comfort us and advise us on certain things, are rather towing on the lines of the authorities. Now, this is what the police came to do during the demonstration. That angered the guys, and they started throwing stones at them. Now, the students are complaining of brutalities. They are complaining of force and oppression by security men.
All right. So Emmanuel Bachiyadom, you insist and you maintain that the Vice-Chancellor should be dismissed. That's your position.
Because how can you supervise such thing in
Very well. Your point is well made. Let's talk about your complicity in the vandalization of properties. I'll come to you, but listen to this. Here's a news desk report, detailing the extent of damage to school property.
The destruction is massive. You get the sense that the mob attacked anything on sight. In one video, you can see smoke swelling into the branches of the trees in front of a hostel block. A car has been torched, and gradually, the entire frontage of the block is engulfed. One of the vehicles, a Nissan Rogue, was occupied, so you can see the owner gliding off amid shouts from the students. Also, the pickup vehicle of the Dean of Students has the windscreen broken and the interior bent. We know that about 20 vehicles have been destroyed so far. Audi A6, Camry, Opel Aguila, Toyota 4Runner, and so on. But the administration block is another place a lot of destruction was done. The glazed entrance has been torn down. Glass particles and pieces of aluminium bars strewn dangerously on the floor with the objects used: the broken rim of a car tire, rocks, and chairs. Another glazed door has multiple cracks at the top. It's obvious this door needs some replacement. The students can be seen in another video milling past the Chermantin Park, but here the fabric used for the signpost has been punctured with sticks.
So, Emmanuel Boakye-Yiadom, you heard the short news desk report, outlining the extent of damage there. How do you respond to concerns, and keep this very brief, that you are complicit in the vandalization of property? Hello?
Yeah, hello.
Yes, I'm asking, how do you respond to the accusations against you, students, that you are complicit in the vandalization of property, the wanton destruction of property?
I think when we talk of destroying or destruction of properties, the school authorities, definitely they would have their ways and means of getting things restored. For me, as a student who took part in the peaceful demonstration, I didn't witness any sort of destruction or any other thing. I think it was after the demonstration that we heard things have been destroyed. And we saw them on pictures on social media, and then we saw the videos and others. Maybe personally, after seeing it on radio and TV, I didn't witness any sort of destruction. So maybe if the school or any other agency can have such stuff, then I think we'll get there. And I think the SIC too has made it emphatically clear that they are not responsible for any sort of damages, because if the authorities had settled or sorted things out, probably wouldn't have generated to what happened on Monday. But we complained, and on Friday, on Sunday, when we didn't complain of having a demonstration on Monday, the Dean of Students sent a viral message telling students that on Monday, classes continues, and on Monday, whoever that misses class does so at his or her own peril. So they thought everything was everything, and then that is the result of whatever that happened.
Well, very well. That's Emmanuel Boakye-Yiadom. He is leader of the concerned KNUST students. And that's how we wrap up Top Story here. Top Story was brought to you by Bond Savings and Loans, Gasem Cement, Vodafone, and Nationwide Medical Insurance. Newsnight is up next after these commercials.